Every time I put my hands on this motorcycle, I am aware of the privilege and burden of owning a piece of history. It's so original and authentic that it's both mystical and terrifying all at once. Since there are no known factory spares, there's no recovering from a crash on this bike. And that's where the terror comes in. When Ducati showed up at Imola with a glass-sided transporter truck containing 7 new desmodromic V-twin racers in April '72, nobody could believe it. The small company was known mostly for its single-cylinder road bikes, making such a big factory effort outlandish for the time. The bike in this video is one of 2 supplied to Imola 200 winner Paul Smart. He owns his race winner, making this his backup bike. Here is Paul Smart during official practice. Then on race day, Smart and his primary Imola 750 won the race going away, with the victory putting Ducati on the map as a superbike builder. After Imola, the bikes raced in countries where Ducati wanted to expand, including England and South Africa. This bike raced in the South African TT and eventually bent a rod and was retired. Until chance brought it to America, that is, where it was mechanically repaired but not restored. We took the bike to Corsa Motoclassica at Willow Springs for its first exercise since the 2011 Pebble Beach Tour de Elegance, and it hadn't been on a track since Paul Smart rode it here in 2007. So much of this motorcycle is handmade that any damage could be irreparable. The old bodywork is as fragile as butterfly wings, and so even routine servicing must be done with the utmost care. Today, just 2 or 3 real Imola racers survive with their original metalflake gelcoat finish, which was molded directly into the fiberglass and can never be duplicated. The huge sump holds nearly 5 quarts of thick 50-weight racing oil, more than most cars. Since there are no spare body parts, even moving the bike around requires total concentration. Before firing the engine, the Imola camshafts need to be pre-lubricated by spinning the engine with the plugs out, so the oil can work its way through the remote oil cooler. And when it starts up, the straight-cut primary gears, desmo valve train, big carburetors, and open megaphones make a completely unique noise. Pump gas will destroy the original fiberglass resin, and so it's race gas only. The bike still wears its battle scars from racing in Italy, Greece, and South Africa in '72. Go time. The minute the bike rolls off its stand and onto the track, insurance coverage stops, and so using it is a serious deal. There's everything to lose and nothing to gain by running this bike, and yet, that is what it was built for. And so that's a risk I'll happily but carefully take. So that's one lap of Willow aboard the only known track-ready real 1972 Ducati 750 Imola on the planet. The ride looks easy, but it's actually not. At 6 feet tall, I'm way too big for this thing, and I feel like a monkey riding a coconut. The Ducati's long wheelbase and raked-out steering angle make it super stable, but difficult to turn. Not to mention it's currently riding on street tires. Nothing happens with the engine below 6,000 RPM because the megaphonitis is so severe, the motor stumbles, misfires, and won't pull. But from there to redline, it's absolutely magic, like ecstasy on wheels. The engine is so smooth and so willing, it seems like the motorcycle just goes effortlessly down the track. The Ducati makes less than half the horsepower of a modern superbike, but it's stout for a half-century old and is still willing to run. I've ridden the bike as hard as I can on many occasions, but these days, just being aboard it and safely under the limit feels just right. Worry and excitement turn to joy and relief at the end of our session. Legendary bikes need respect too.